actually, there is a question. This is a follow-up question from, I think this was Thursday night's program, on the topic of the Elder of Zion, or the book about the Elder of
The
Zion.
protocols of Zion.
Protocols of Zion.
Yeah.
The brother keeps on referring to it as the Elders of Zion. Maybe.
No, it says that. That's what it says, the elders of the protocol.
He said, the Elder of Zion, the Elder of Zionists, that's what he's calling it, may be created by a Russian agent, but there is truth there as well, such as when the Zionists come into a country, they control the heartbeats of that nation, such as banking, the newspaper, major movies, industries, sports entities, as well as the political aspect. These things are a fact. In my opinion, this is with the philosophy, Machiavelli ideas of controlling behind the seat of power. It's kind of affirming what you said.
No, it's yeah. By the way, we have a whole article on Machiavelli in one of our earlier. Anyway, yeah. All I can do is basically halfway agree with it. Is that the only thing? No. What happened is the people quote Protocols of Zion verbatim. The Russian agent that wrote it, and all the scholars agree that it was a Russian agent, that because what's happening is this. And all the people are running away from Russia and going to Paris. Paris in those days, you know, liberal freedom, so-called freedom. Okay. So the Russian agent went to Paris and hung out with them. He joined them. And he discovered and kept notes and wrote about everything that they do. They do take over, but the banking was a Rothschild family, Red Shield. In Germany, they said one son here, one son there, and they just, out of the five of them, you know, Red Shield them, they took over everything. Now there's so many of them, so many kids. It's like the Rockefeller family. They're not consolidated, so the wealth is not as consolidated as it was. But they still exist today. Red Shield, Rothschild. Okay. All of those things that the Russian agent talked about was the tactics and strategies that they use. They get control of the press. What do they get? Systematically here in America. In early 1898 or something like that, they bought the New York Times. They bought the New York Times. The first thing they did, they told all the Jews, I remember by that time they got all those shops and advertisement. They told them, pull your advertisement out of the New York Times. Pretty soon it was almost worthless. They bought it for pennies, the New York Times. They bought it for pennies and then back with the advertisement. Okay, that happened. The Graham family owned this rag here, the Washington Post. Yeah, they owned it, the Graham family. They all from back at that time. So if it's the press, if it's the media, Warner Brothers, do you know it was Russian, what's the name wrote a book about it, Empire of Their Own. Look at Hollywood. Who built the picture that every American have of America? The Jews. Russian immigrants. Right? Warner Brothers, Fox, whoever else they was, all of them. That's why the book is called Empire of Their Own. Huh? MGM, Metro Goldwyn and Meyer. Good God Almighty. What do you need? Right? Metro Goldwyn and Meyer. My goodness. Oh, here's what I'm saying. Here they just got lucky. This is not new. They've been doing this from way back in history. You got to look at the history. There's always, history is moving along, and just before they get their hand around everybody's throat, they all look up and they say, it's the you-know-who. Everybody. And you notice when they talk about Hitler, they never play or translate what he's saying. They just have him jumping up and down and da 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 da. You said the poor man is crazy. Why they don't put what they're saying there? You ever read what Hitler was saying? What's the name? Got Hitler's books right on his old Trump. He lives the Führer. The Führer, not only him, but all the rest of those Europeans, the Bush family. Heinrich Ford, you know who that is? Henry Ford. You know whose carburetors was in all them German trucks that was bombing there? Henry Ford. I'm telling you, look. So if about what you say, it's not, well, actually, everybody said, they made up a story. Here's what I was told. I was told that, like Jules Verne. Jules Verne wrote a book From the Earth to the Moon, right, and how they got there. They come up with, if you added up that type of cannon and that type of explosives, that his calculation, Jules Verne, was right. The only thing is you would be splattered all over the shell that take you to the moon. Because after you get out so far, it's weightlessness, right? And you just keep on going. So if you can escape the gravitational pull, so Jules Verne, just like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, he had people going under in submarines and all of that way back when, right? That he was able to visualize and calculate correctly what it would take to do that. That's the way they look at the protocols of Zion. Like Jules Verne, yes, it was correct what they say. They take over the press, they take over this, they take over the banking. Well, it's easy because they just Rothschild them and took over everything, right? And they was already doing that.
So it's fiction, but the rules of that book
Is
they work in practicality.
They are working. They work.
Yeah, what am I saying? Working.
They work 100%. They work 100%. They work. But here's the thing: just before, throughout history, just before they got their hands around the neck of humanity in whatever region they are, just before they squeeze them out, it'll happen here in America too. Get ready. Everybody look up and they say, it's Yahoo. So there's a time when all the people that have died in those wars, not only the Iran-Iraq war, but the Iraq war, and then all of the other Desert Storm and all of that, and all the people that are here that have gone crazy, 22 Americans dying every day. Pretty soon, they'll look up. They're getting ready to find that out now. Who was we over there fighting for? Was it for America? No, it's for them. Why would the Zionists put 4 women in Congress? Because they're not going to do nothing. Because they're not going to put a group of men in there. Why? They just, not to be any big deal, but because they can be manipulated. Everyone in there. You think a barmaid, Miss Cortez, whatever her name is up there, she's a barmaid, right? She's a barmaid. Now she's in Congress. And what's her name? Hadn't did nothing. They go around and they choose. Why they didn't choose one of the brothers from whoever they are over there? They choose her because they already know who they can manipulate. Now, we said all this a long time ago. This is not new. We just said keep your eye on it. We gonna give everybody a chance. We ain't gonna ride no broom on nobody. But that's what it is. Okay, so we'll close with this. The protocols of Zion are technically not real, but it is fiction that have taken on the cloth of reality. From research, they wrote a fiction based on the most accurate research. So the forecasting.
Actually, it's the same thing that those folks have done to other people. They place themselves in communities, study those communities, and reported on whether this ain't us. They reported on our positive aspects and come up with movies about them, but they've all been fiction. But so once you turn it on them, now it's,
No, it's history is going our way. History is going our way. I'm talking about right now.
History is repeating itself the way we can see it before back then.
Huh?
I said history was repeating itself in our, like you said, in our favor, in the black favor, because everything that's happening has already happened before.
Yeah, the history does. It definitely repeats itself. That's why if you have a good understanding of history, you're not. That's how you trick boss man. He think that nigga got a crystal ball. I mean, there was a couple of times when it was, it just depended on something else. But he's paranoid. He's paranoid right now. He ain't doing nothing. He's paranoid. And we tell him, you be good and you come and sign a contract and we'll might give you a shot. You can do what he wants. It don't make no difference. That's the deal. Yeah, that's the deal. So anyway, if that's all, that's it. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله رب العالمين.